Man, it is cold. Man, what is going on? It is checking the thermometer 32 degrees in Jacksonville, Florida. That's right. We've got absolutely 32 degrees in Jacksonville. The fun never ends. The fun never ends here on the Teal Shirt Report podcast. With us, two cold ones in Jacksonville, Florida. High today, 50s. The highest temperature I'm seeing today, maybe up to 56. Sunrise in the morning at 7:24 a.m. Sunset about 5:36 p.m. We keep up to date with all that at bigjreport.com. Check us out. I'm absolutely Scott, your host on the Teal Shirt Report podcast. The Jaguars got 12 wins in the book in 2025, and all I've been hearing is, man, we got a little small market team with 12 wins. It does not help us in the Hall of Fame situation. Tony Baselli got in 2022, and he should have got in 2 years earlier. Now we're hearing from Gaylor yesterday saying that Fred Taylor did not become a finalist. Tom Coughlin's not a finalist. And if Tony Baselli gets in 2 years earlier, I think that could have expedited and kind of sped, kind of would go towards speeding some of this up. A lot of people know my opinion on this. Tony Baselli should have got in 2 years earlier into the Hall of Fame than he did. Fred Taylor should have got into the Hall of Fame last year, and TC should go in this year. But they're not going to get in. They're absolutely not going to get in. And it's sad. It's sad. It's disgraceful on the part of the NFL. Wouldn't it have been great if Fred Taylor and Tom Coughlin could have gone in together in this class? The next class would be 2026. That's all I got to say about it. Give me your comments about the Hall of Fame on our YouTube channel in the comment area. Jaguars, their record says it all. 12-4, a 7-game winning streak. Even my good buddy Big Bill, I've known him for years, and when Big Bill says Liam Cohen should be coach of the year, that carries some weight. And Bill loves the after game talks that Liam Cohen has with the team. And I do too. We might have to show some of those up on the podcast. So that's where we are. 32 degrees in Jacksonville, Florida, here in the 6 o'clock hour. High today only about 56. Be another cold one tonight, nearly as cold. And man, I was checking some temperatures. Baldwin got down to 31 this morning. Our friends up in that southeast corner of Alabama, Eufaula got down to 29 so far, but it feels like 26 there. St. Augustine, 35. They're actually above freezing, but it feels probably freezing in St. Augustine. That's about the highest temperature I could find. I think St. Aug was like 40 earlier. Now they dropped to 35, but it feels colder than the 35, I can assure you. We still got winds picking up at times out of the northwest at about 7 to 17 miles per hour. When those winds get up to as much as 17 miles per hour or more, it's going to feel colder. Man, it's going to feel colder because the cold air is already in place. Hall of Fame, should Fred Taylor get in? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Should Tom Coughlin get in the Hall of Fame? My gosh. Between what he did with the Giants and the Jaguars, yes. Jimmy Smith played a lot of games with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Should he eventually be in the Hall of Fame? Yes. The answer to these questions, in my mind, goes back to Tony Baselli. He's in the Hall of Fame now with the 2022 class. But he should have got in 2 years earlier, and that probably would have expedited things maybe a little quicker for Fred Taylor and Tom Coughlin. Maybe. I always thought that Fred should get in, then Tom Coughlin should get in, and then maybe a year or two later, Jimmy Smith get in. With the understanding that eventually all four get in. Tony Baselli's in, but Fred Taylor needs to be in. Tom Coughlin should be in. When you talk about these players, Tom Coughlin was responsible for Tony Baselli being a Jacksonville Jaguars player. He was responsible for Fred Taylor being a Jacksonville Jaguars player, and he was responsible for Jimmy Smith, the wide receiver, played many, many years with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look up his stats. You'll see what I mean. Many, many seasons with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also, another guy that's not quite Hall of Fame, but was a very good wide receiver, and he would catch the passes over the middle. It did the tough work. Keenan McCardell wears number 87 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Went to Tampa Bay very late in his career and won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who's the other number 87 I'm thinking about? Would it be Gronk? Gronkowski, who does some TV work now. And Gronk had a brother a much older brother that played baseball at JU. Gronkowski. What a character. Often referred to as Bam Bam, right? So we'll salute number 87, Keenan McCardell. We'll even salute Gronkowski, former New England Patriot and Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And Keenan McCardell won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, but man, most of his years, Keenan was with Cleveland, I believe, very early in his career. And Tom Coughlin knew talent, and he picked up Keenan McCardell, Jimmy Smith. Then when Coughlin got fired after being with the Jaguars for many, many years, and Jack Del Rio was hired, eventually Tom Coughlin, who was an assistant with the New York Giants, went back to the Giants as a head coach, and what did he do? He won the Super Bowl. He's a Hall of Famer. Fred Taylor's a Hall of Famer. And Jimmy Smith, after these two go in, Jimmy Smith should be next in the Hall of Fame. If you have any opinion at all about the Hall of Fame, the Jaguars players, or anything in regards to the Pro Football Hall of Fame up in Canton, Ohio, let us know right here in the comments. This is the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I'm Scott, your host. Going to talk college football. They're down to the serious action now, down to 8 teams. College football playoff is absolutely down to 8 teams now. There's a game tonight on December the 31st on New Year's Eve. Cotton Bowl should be completed before the peanut goes up in Georgia, the Big Apple up in New York, and enjoy a happy and safe New Year's holiday. It's New Year's Eve, folks, at least in the morning. We've got the line, and it's a substantial line. Ohio State 12-1. They got a bye in the first round of the college football playoffs, so they automatically got into the final 8 teams. Miami had to work a little harder. Miami beat Texas A&M in a low-scoring game that surprised some people. Our source believes Ohio State will win this game. Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite. The over-under is 40.5 points. That's kind of low, right? Would that be considered a little low? Maybe. 40.5 points. Our source believes Ohio State will win, cover the 9.5-point spread, and the total will go over. That is the only playoff game in college football tonight. There's 3 more tomorrow on New Year's Day on January the 1st. You'll have, we're not going to talk about the lines on the other ones yet. Ole Miss playing Georgia. I see Georgia winning. Kirby Smart is a guy that a lot of times he won't blow teams out, but he will at times. But he has a way of low-scoring games, winning the games. He's a good coach. He's a dean of coaches in the SEC. Kirby Smart's the guy that he's been around longer now than any of the other SEC coaches, in my mind and for my money. So Ole Miss plays Georgia on New Year's Day. Oregon will battle Texas Tech. The Ole Miss Georgia game's a Sugar Bowl. Let's see, Oregon and Texas Tech. That's the Orange Bowl, right? Okay. Indiana plays Alabama in the Rose Bowl on January the 1st. The Rose Bowl, Indiana and Alabama, big one kicking off at about 4 o'clock. Our executive producer, JC's a big Alabama fan. And this is a tough, top-notch Indiana team that beat Ohio State 13-10 to secure and win the Big Ten championship. Not only did Indiana win the Big Ten, but Ohio State, the runner-up, they were 12-1. Their only loss came to Indiana, and Indiana's ranked number 1 in the country with no blemishes, no losses at this point. So that's kind of how college football kind of shakes out. The Jaguars will play their final regular season game of 2025, which now kind of evolves and rolls into the new year of 2026 this Sunday. The Jaguars can beat the Titans at home. They'll win the division. Looking at the playoff matchups, I was thinking the Jags had a shot at a bye. Now, no. With the way it's set up, the array of the 14 playoffs, there used to be 8 teams back in the day when I was a kid, but now it's all the way up to 14 teams, but now there's 32 teams in the league. So still less than half the teams make the playoff. And I would hate to see a day come where more than half the teams make the playoff. That would be ridiculous. College football, and you know what, executive producer JC, you know they're going to go to 16 teams next year or the year after. I still think there's going to be a mid-major to in there, or at least in a play-in game. You got to give them a chance, JC. Some of these teams, they have special years. Although I know Tulane went down by a big score to Ole Miss, and little James Madison now being coached by former Gator coach Billy Napier. Chesney went to UCLA, the James Madison coach. So is Billy Napier Sunbelt Billy? Looks like he is. He's gone back to the well, back to the mid-majors, the coach at James Madison. James Madison and Tulane are long gone. Texas A&M, that surprised me. They got beat by Miami. Ole Miss honestly destroyed Tulane. And now Coach Summerall is in Gainesville. And he is the full-time Florida Gator head football coach now. He's got Tulane in the rear view, but, man, I know he had great memories coaching the Tulane Green Wave. Georgia got a bye. Now they play Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat Tulane. Oregon eliminated James Madison. Texas Tech got a bye, the Big 12 champions. And Indiana got a bye by virtue of winning the Big Ten championship and going undefeated all year long. Alabama, well, they're the Southeastern Conference runners-up, JC. But they beat Oklahoma. They come from behind, win over Oklahoma. Did Oklahoma really have a 17-0 lead over Bama in the first half? And Alabama came roaring back and won that game, and now they find themselves in the final 8 of college football. North Florida Entertainment, the Icemen, they're back playing. Can you believe that? The Jacksonville Icemen are now back playing. Let me see here. I've actually got the latest score. The Icemen back in action. They were able to finally play that game with the Orlando Solar Bears. And the Icemen are on a losing streak right now. They lost to Atlanta 3-2 right before the strike. And the game right after Christmas was postponed or canceled due to the East Coast Hockey League strike, which lasted maybe 2 or 3 days. So back in action in the East Coast Hockey League here at the end of the year, back in action after the ECHL strike. The Orlando Solar Bears 6, the Jacksonville Icemen 3. Final score on Tuesday night, December the 30th of 2025. The Jacksonville Icemen fall to 13-14. I want to one more time at least congratulate the high school football champions, Lake Mary and Central Florida, Carver up in Columbus, Georgia, Raines High School right here in Jacksonville with a 1-point come-from-behind win over Miami Northwestern. So the Raines Vikings from Jacksonville won a state championship. So does Lake Mary from Central Florida. Carver from Columbus, Georgia. Carver went 15-0. And Worth County, where are they? Their school is in Sylvester, Georgia, I believe near Albany. That's kind of our old stopping grounds up in that area. Worth County won a state championship, but we want to congratulate Raines, Lake Mary, Carver, Worth County, and all the other schools that won high school football state championships. That certainly is a big deal. Jaguars with, as we mentioned, 12 wins now. Amazing. College football playoff tonight. Well, Ohio State is a big, 9? Did we mention it earlier? Ohio State's a 9.5-point favorite. Our source thinks Ohio State could win and cover the spread. Miami is, what's the deal with Miami? Is their defense good? I mean, they held Texas A&M down to a low score. Gosh, what was the score of that game? Like 10-3 or something? My gosh. And Indiana beat Ohio State in the Big Ten final. Indiana 13, Ohio State 10. So there's some defense being played in college football. But are these defenses that good? Well, we're going to find out tonight about Miami's defense. Ohio State's a 9.5-point favorite. This is the Cotton Bowl game that'll be played in Texas. Ohio State versus Miami of Florida. Ohio State a 9.5-point favorite. That game being played tonight. Did I give you guys a kickoff time on that one? I don't believe I did. 7:30, and that's at AT&T Stadium in the Cotton Bowl. That would be in Dallas. That's tonight. Wednesday night, December the 31st, 7:30 p.m., AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Excuse me, Dallas is the host city of the Cotton Bowl, AT&T Stadium. They'll play tonight on New Year's Eve on Wednesday night, December the 31st, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. tonight. The Miami of Florida Hurricanes 11-2 from the ACC, and the Ohio State Buckeyes 12-1. And here's the interesting side note to this game. These teams got great records, but neither one of them won their conference. They were very, very good runners-up in their conference. So these are a couple of teams that do not have conference championship. So, but somebody's going to shake out of there with a win and move into the Final Four of college football. So you got Ohio State and Miami tonight. Then on New Year's Day, January the 1st, Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss versus Georgia. Oregon and Texas Tech. The Orange Bowl in Indiana plays Alabama. Kickoff 4 o'clock Eastern time in the Rose Bowl on January the 1st of 2026. Concerts coming to our area. Well, you got some good ones coming. Really do. In 2026, you got, Foreigner, Journey, Judy Collins. Judy Collins from Both Sides Now fame. Check out the Neighbors 2 section at bigjreport.com. We got the latest concerts up there. And let's see, JC, our executive producer, we're a little over 19 minutes in. We'll talk about our sponsors. Salsa Realty and Capital for your real estate needs in North Florida, where, of course, whether you're buying a new home, whether you're buying, selling, whether you're buying, selling a new home, or perhaps a business, whether for your home and business needs with real estate, Salsa Realty and Capital, you'll find a link on our homepage right near that North Florida weather where it's 32 degrees, clear and cold conditions, and our forecast could get breezy at times, winds northwest at about 7 to 17 miles per hour here in North Florida. High today, it looks like the highest possible temperature is going to get up to around maybe 56 if we're lucky. Lows tonight dropping back into the low 30s. Projected low for this morning, 31. Brunswick, Georgia got down to 31. Baldwin, Florida, 31. St. Augustine, 35, but it feels colder there, I believe. Eufaula, Alabama, 29, but it feels like 26 in Eufaula. Atlanta, Georgia, clear skies, very cold in Atlanta, 31 degrees. Meanwhile, here in Jacksonville, Florida, we got 32 degrees. I'll check the thermometer again here in a moment. We're talking about our sponsors, Saucer Realty and Capital, for your real estate needs in North Florida, whether it's home, residential, business, or commercial real estate. Go to our website. Go to our website at bigjreport.com. Check the North Florida weather information. Clear and cold, breezy at times, high temperatures. The highest temperature I'm seeing is about 56 for today as a prediction. Low tonight back down into the low 30s, near around 31. Bear in mind, Waycross, Georgia got down to 28 degrees this morning. So you can check our weather on our homepage at bigjreport.com. You'll find a link for Saucer Realty and Capital right in the middle or toward the tail end of the weather in two different weather locations on the homepage. Want to thank Mad Max and the Mad Max Mix. Weebly.com. Max has got a new show after the holidays. That's right, new episode. Well, I say episode, but he's on live, and he'll be on live Wednesday night, January the 7th, with the Mad Max Mix.weebly.com. Mad Max playing his special mix of music, basically music, pop classics, classic rock tunes from days gone by. You know, Atlanta Rhythm Section, they come back to life. The Almonds, Leonard Skinner, Steely Dan. Man, so many great groups on Wednesday night. Check out the Mad Max Mix.weebly.com. How about some Chicago Max? John Lennon. A lot of great tunes on the Mad Max Mix.weebly.com. And Mad Max's next show is going to be Wednesday night, January the 7th of 2026, the new year. We're getting ready to move into the new year. Happy New Year to everybody. And then the next night, I guess it'll be Thursday night, January the 8th, JC live from the pub. JC live from the pub on Thursday night at LakeEufaulaHits.com. Great internet radio where it's all good. Both shows will play your requests. JC has a chat box on his site. Mad Max will give you his phone number probably very early in the show where you can text Max or call him and get your request on. We want to thank all of our sponsors as we move into the new year now. Saucer Realty and Capital, the Mad Max Mix.weebly.com, and Lake Eufaula Hits, where JC does live from the pub, his live from the pub show on Thursday nights. You can also you can actually go to bigjreport.com in the Neighbors 2 section, and you'll find links to both the Mad Max Mix and JC's live from the pub show on Thursday nights and the Mad Max Mix.weebly.com on Wednesday nights. Did we go up to 33? We were at 32. Now we're back up to 33 in Jacksonville, Florida at 6:25 in the morning on December the 31st. Lowest possible temperatures, probably the lowest we're going to see in Jacksonville, 31. But when you're out there, the cold weather's already in place. So the cold air is already in place. So it's going to feel colder, a little bit colder than the actual temperature. But looking at the thermometer now, it looked like the low was 32 earlier. Now we're back up to not much back up to 33. 33 cold degrees. That's Fahrenheit. 33 cold degrees in Jacksonville, Florida. It is New Year's Eve. It is Wednesday, December the 31st. I want to wish all of you a upcoming happy new year and the new year coming in 2026. I'm your host, Scott, for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. And let me tell you, this has been episode show number 87. Again, we congratulate those high school football teams on the state championships. Rains from here in Jacksonville, Lake Mary from Central Florida. Carver High School up in Columbus, Georgia went 15-0. And another state champion, Worth County, up near Albany. I believe Worth County High School is officially, I believe, in Sylvester, Georgia. We wish all the state championship football teams, congratulations on winning your state championship. And those kids that played in those games and those coaches, they'll remember those championships the rest of their lives. Good to have you with us. I'm Scott, your host for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. We have been eloquently produced on this cold morning. We've been eloquently produced by our executive producer, JC, also by Alex Nunnery. And thank you so much to our contributor and correspondent, John Gaylor, who had some interest. He cannot believe it. I can't either. That Fred Taylor this year is not going to get in the Hall of Fame again. Tom Coughlin will not get in. Tony Baselli got in with the class of 2022. And waiting in the wings somewhere in the future has got to be Jaguars wide receiver Jimmy Smith. Your comments about the Hall of Fame, put them in the YouTube comments on our channel. Our channel is the Teal Shirt Report podcast from BigJReport.com. So we've talked college football. We talked the NFL. Buffalo Bills lost a tough one to the Eagles by 1 point on Sunday. That was a good football team. Those are two playoff teams. The playoffs are going to be interesting. It's looking like the Jags will not get a bye. Unless something crazy happens, the Jaguars will not get a bye and get that number one seed. The way it shakes out is I looked at the playoff setup, and the way it is now with the 14 teams, 7 teams in each conference, there's one bye. The other 6 teams will play in the first round. And then after the first round, then you got, 4 teams left on each side. And that's when the real playoffs start, when you get down to the 8 teams, like we also have now in college football going in to the New Year's Day games, and one New Year's Eve game tonight with the Cotton Bowl, Ohio State versus Miami tonight in prime time. By the way, all the college football games, like them or not like them, the 4-letter network has all 4 of the college football playoff games now with 8 teams left in the college football playoff. That's going to do it for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I am your host, Scott. Jaguars have 12 wins. Can you believe it, man? I thought the most wins the Jags might get this year would be 10. They've gotten at least 12 with one more regular season game to go. Our executive producer, JC, mentioned, a few episodes back way early in the year that the Jags could probably win 12 or 13 games. He's right at it, I believe. What was the exact prediction, JC? Put your exact prediction in the comments as it was, several weeks ago, obviously. And, hey, we appreciate all you guys tuning in to the Teal Shirt Report podcast. That is going to do it. I'm your host, Scott, for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for listening to watching. Thank you for listening and watching to episode show number 87 of the Teal Shirt Report podcast here in the year 2025. This will obviously be our final podcast of the year 2025. And my gosh, we got episode show number 87 in. There will not be an 89. So I've got to salute Mercedes Lewis, who wore 89 for the Jacksonville Jaguars and played for the Jags for many, many years. And who wore 88 was Drew Pearson with the Cowboys. So what about this Hall of Fame stuff? Let me know. Shouldn't Fred Taylor be in the Hall of Fame? I say he should be. Let me know in the comments. Tom Coughlin definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. Fred should be there. And Jimmy Smith, the fine Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver many years ago. He should eventually be in the Hall of Fame, too. I'm Scott, your host for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. JC, you can't complain too much because I'm right at 30 minutes. You guys have a great day. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you absolutely for listening to the Teal Shirt Report podcast episode show number 87.